Hi, everyone. This is Sabrina Dami with your 13 Now update on this Thursday afternoon. It is June 1st, and we start with new details right now on a scuffle caught on camera between an Albany police officer and a 16-year-old girl. Dan Levy has been digging into this and is here in the 13 Now studio. Dan, you have some new details you've learned.
I do have some new details. Good afternoon to you, Sabrina. You know, with the proliferation of cell phones, I mean, everybody has a cell phone right now. Encounters involving police and citizens are really common, but it's important to point out that the cell phone video that we see popping up on social media or even on some news programs does not tell the entire story. People have to remember that. Now, with that stated, there was an incident that began to unfold last night in Albany in the Pine Hills neighborhood in front of Paisan's Pizza Shop. If we could take a look at some of that video, and I think we are taking a look at that. There is a police officer who got involved in a scuffle with a young woman, a 16-year-old woman. And, the video shows that officer wrestling the young lady to the ground. There was a basketball game underway at the park at the time. It's unclear if the girl was there to spectate or why she was there. But according to Paisan's Pizza Shop owner, Frank Scavio, there's unruliness, there's violence that happens in that area all the time. It's nothing unusual, and it's something that he sees every day. But we also know that there was a Black Lives Matter person there, and you're going to hear from her in a moment. And, she's making a big stink of this. Police are making a big stink of this. So let's hear what some of the witnesses who saw this had to say.
So, Dan, I do have a couple of quotes that you had wanted to use as part of your description in this story.
Okay, so we're going to the police statement.
Yes. So
okay. Okay. We'll do that. We did check in with Albany Police last night, and they did issue this statement. Preliminarily, it appears an officer was on his bicycle when a 16-year-old approached him and engaged in an altercation with him. That officer, along with another officer at the park, took the suspect into custody. In addition, a separate 16-year-old suspect who approached officers during the arrest and was also taken into custody. And the statement goes on to say that the police officer on the bicycle sustained injuries during the incident and was treated at a local hospital. Neither suspect reported any injuries during the incident, and they have both been charged. Now, both have since been released while they await further court proceedings. Now, what's new today, we were able to receive from Albany Police a list of the charges that these 16-year-olds are now facing. We have a look at that. Yeah. Okay. Suspect number one, obstruction of governmental administration, unauthorized radio transmission, reckless endangerment of property, and resisting arrest. That young lady was released on an appearance ticket. Regarding the second suspect, second-degree robbery, second-degree assault, criminal mischief, that young lady arraigned and released under the supervision of probation. Now, both of these teenagers were runaways from the St. Anne's Institute, and so that's where they are right now. I have found out that police did have body cameras on them, so presumably there is video of what transpired before the video that we saw. So we're likely to know, or at least police probably know, what was said by the officers, what might have been said by the young women before we saw the wrestling match, if you will. Police have not released that video, but they tell me that it is under review.
That video is tough to watch, Dan, but I know, as you mentioned, you have some new details on that, and the Black Lives Matter activists who you were referencing, we will hear from them coming up live at 4.
We sure will.
Dan, thank you so much for updating us here in the 13 Now studio. If you've been outside, you've noticed it's very hot. It feels like the middle of summer. So let's bring in meteorologist Paul Caiano into this conversation. And Paul, it's a beautiful summer day.
Rabbit. No response from the rabbit.
Rabbit. You beat me to it. You know, it's my favorite thing to say.
I know. Well, I was thinking, because it's June 1st, see, what comes to my mind when my eyes open is that it's meteorological summer on June 1st. You go with the rabbit route, but I get it. I mean, we all have our thing. But it's certainly warm out there, Sabrina.
I appreciate your respect for the rabbit.
Full sunshine again today. Look at this. Soaring into the upper 80s already in downtown Albany. 87 degrees, northwest wind at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. 88 now at the airport. In fact, a lot of 88 showing up. Schuylerville, Scaticoke, all 88 degrees, on our way toward 90 or 91 today. And with that blue sky, dry weather on the first warning, live Doppler. Here's the setup. That H is high pressure. It's sinking air and it's drying us out. It's been over top of us since Memorial Weekend. But now that H is going to slide back toward Michigan. That's the state that looks like a mitten with the thumb back out on the left side of the screen. So when it goes that way, down comes the energy from Ottawa, and that's going to touch off some few scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. So for the rest of the day today, dry and sunny, hot. Not a lot of humidity by summer standards, but I think you'll notice a difference out there through late afternoon. A bit more mugginess in the air tonight, and that's going to set the stage for tomorrow. Watch, dry in the morning, I think through about lunchtime, staying dry, sunny, and hot. But as we get deeper into the afternoon, we'll stop the clock at 2:15. A few showers pop up, some bursts of rain, perhaps some rumbles of thunder. No severe weather. But if you get caught under one of these more persistent showers, it could produce a fairly needed soaking rain for a time tomorrow afternoon and into the evening before we dry it out again. Now, the weekend was in question. You could see one or two showers on Saturday. I think the same will hold for Sunday, but mainly dry and cooler for both weekend days. 91 today, hot, a little humidity in the air, more mugginess down to 62 tonight. Dry the first half of the day tomorrow, enough to get us back toward 90 before those late day showers show up and a couple thunderstorms. Saturday, a few showers, 74. So noticeably cooler, 72 for the weekend. And next week looks like it's going to stay in check, upper 60s and lower 70s. So no real heat building for another week at least after this bout of it goes by the board. Sabrina.
So in terms of the rain tomorrow, Paul, I mean, is this going to be enough to help us out with how dry things have been, or it's just going to be kind of a passing
Well, it's
thing?
been so dry that I think any amount's going to help a little bit, but there's only going to be a select few of us that get that drenching, soaking rain. It's going to be short-lived. One of those thunderstorms that kind of saturate the ground briefly, but I think the folks who get that will be the lucky ones. Most of us won't get enough.
All right, Paul, thank you so much. We'll talk to you live at 4.
Okay.
That segues nicely into our next topic, which is with being in this hot, dry stretch of weather, we're looking at the danger of fires. We have reports right now of some brush fires in different parts of the capital region, and we have a crew going to check that out right now. But Tessa Ventulin is here in the 13 Now studio. And Tessa, you've been speaking with a fire chief about just that, the dangers of the possibility of fires right now.
Yeah, the Schenectady Fire Chief, Don Moreno, he reached out to me last night. He was the one who came to me and said, hey, I think we should do a story on this, of the dry weather. It's causing a lot of fires in our area. He said just last week, they had 12 outdoor fires, 2 of them which caused damage to surrounding buildings. He says another big problem is cottonwood. You know, those little white little flurries that almost look like snowflakes, and you see them all over the place.
They're everywhere right now, yeah.
Well, he says those are easily flammable. They actually did a presentation for us, and I want to show you the video really quickly. Look how fast that spread. Seconds. I mean, what, 2 seconds there or so? Imagine a bunch of those right next to a home in the grass. It doesn't take too long for it to spread. We were trying to get some of them popping up a little bit there for us because they fly all over the place. So he says the dryness mixed with that, it creates such a problem for them. He says not so much a headache, and they deal with those kind of fires the way they would with other fires as well. But that's why they're really hoping for rain. And he kind of gave me some science behind it. He said the little cottonwood, it's got like oil to it. That's why it kind of fires and ignites so quickly. So we have some more of the presentation that he showed us, as well as some sound from him where he speaks about all these brush fires. So we'll have more of that coming up on News Channel 13 starting live at 4.
And Tessa, did he say anything about what people can do just to be safer? Obviously, if you're having an outdoor fire, avoid that, fire pits, but what else? Anything he suggested?
Yeah, so he said in Schenectady, in the city limits, there's a no burn there. You can have a barbecue with propane and stuff, but it can't be an open fire. He said, especially with 4th of July coming up, no fireworks. He said, let the professionals take care of it. Don't go just out burning stuff. And he said as well that there's a lot of kids who try to burn the cottonwood as well. Don't do that because that's a big problem. And he also said if you're smoking cigarettes, there's usually now a compound in there that kind of lights itself or lets it out itself. But he said be really careful if you're just going to let it out somewhere.
Yeah, good advice. Okay, Tessa, thank you so much. That video, though, how quickly that ignited. Wow. We'll see much more starting live at 4. Thank you, Tessa. I want to share some news that we're just getting in right now. Some families of the Schoharie limo crash have reached a settlement with Mavis Discount Tire. This was first reported by the Times Union, but News Channel 13 did obtain the court documents on this right here, and where we learned a little bit more. So, of course, this is coming just one day after the sentencing of Nauman Hussain just yesterday. So here's what we've learned. Some of the families have agreed in principle to a settlement in their wrongful death lawsuits, but no details on an amount at this time. Other families are still in talks. Nauman Hussain yesterday was sentenced to 5 to 15 years in prison after being found guilty on 20 counts of manslaughter in connection with the Schoharie limo crash, back in 2018. Want to end this with a nice positive story. Schuylerville schools celebrating a birthday today for the high school's therapy dog. You have to see this dog. He's just adorable. Look at him. This is Hamilton. He turns 4 today. His nickname is Ham, and the celebration today includes ice cream donated by Stewart's. Hamilton has been wonderful for Schuylerville High School, providing just a lot of comfort. And you can see right there how everyone is doting on him, and rightfully so, because Hamilton is adorable. That is your 13 Now update on this June 1st. Can't believe it's June 1st. Rabbit, everyone. We'll see you on air starting live at 4.